That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to our Kid Cosmic Season 2 Spoilercast. That's right. Heyo. All right, folks. So, Kid Cosmic, guys, if you're not watching Kid Cosmic, you should be watching Kid Cosmic. It's Craig McCracken's latest and possibly greatest animated series over on Netflix. And Dragon, man, let me tell you, of course, this is a spoiler cast, so I'm not going to get into any big spoilers right off the bat, but let me tell you, I am worried about that ending that we got for season 2. I'm just like, okay, Craig, I see what you're doing here. I don't know how it's going to work in the fabric of this show. We'll see. I'm a little worried, but other than that, Dragon, I think this season was fantastic. I think it was a great shift from Kid Cosmic was the main character of season 1, and here he's kind of like an underdog mascot, whereas Joe kind of takes over the main character duties. I really, really love the mother-daughter stuff with Joe and Flo. I think that stuff is just super duper strong and kind of the heart of the season and the heart of the show so far in a way. I really, really like the twist that we did with the Queen this time around, where we kind of set her up to be kind of like this manipulative, string puller, and kind of gave her a solid sort of background for why she's like that. That was a decent twist. A lot of fun animation stuff with Papa G. A lot of fun seeing the townsfolk kind of take on hero roles of their own. I can't complain about pretty much anything in the season, Dragon. I thought it was paced very well. There's maybe one episode in particular where I'm like, okay, we're maybe getting 2 episodes in a row of Joe kind of messing things up in some ways where pacing could have been a little tighter. But other than that, I think I think I'm fine. I'm fine with this. I overall think it's probably an improvement over season 1. Okay, Dragon, really quick, we got Claude in the comments. Hey there, Claude. How you doing? Happy to see you. He says season 3 of Kid Cosmic is set to be the last season. It was Craig's plan from the beginning. Dragon, I wonder if 6 episodes was Craig's plan from the beginning, though. That's the thing I'm kind of worried about.
I don't know. Those are round Netflix numbers. I mean, you start with, you go from 10 to 8 to 6. He's covered. It's like a straight flush of streaming, if you will. I don't know. It sounds like it sounds too specific to not be planned to me.
Yeah, perhaps. So I am excited. All right, so Dragon, what do you think of season 2?
Yeah, so McCracken's back, big time, baby. He's back.
Oh,
yeah. I love McCracken with a plan. I think it looks good on him. That's what I really raved about with the first season. I think that continues here. I think this has been some of his finest work. I really do think so. Very much
agree. Yeah.
Very much Joe's season this time around. We dive deep into the next evolution in the hero's journey. With leadership, and we're in space. And I feel like the 3 seasons are going to be kind of getting into they're kind of I feel like they're tonally sectioned off like phases of the MCU per season. Like we're very much in kind of that Guardian slash kind of phase 3, kind of the Infinity War, the Infinity Saga section of the MCU this season, where the first season is very much kind of your Thor in New Mexico setting, if you will. Yeah. I hope we give McCracken more streaming work after this. It's anywhere but Apple Plus. Give him anything but Apple Plus.
Just and folks, I wouldn't mind Apple Plus if I could watch an Apple Plus show on my Windows device. That's all I'm saying.
They got great stuff.
They're literally like, they're just like, oh, hello, half of the people who use computers, we're just going to shun you. All right, that's smart marketing for, I don't know, we've been down this road before. I'm sorry.
Point being, just the spite Apple Plus. I don't know whether it's keep giving McCracken some Netflix work, maybe a little bit of splash Amazon, who knows? But he's been doing great with like the short form, and I think it's brought about
something a little bit more adult orientated on HBO Max, perhaps.
I mean, that's possible too. We need to fill a void, unfortunately. So, why not? Why not, hand over to McCracken? So, yeah, I'm just, I really enjoy the season. I don't, because they're very different. They're very different new character focused seasons, again. So they're very much kind of apples and oranges in terms of the difference. I do like how it is kind of the next evolution and escalation, but, I don't know if I like it better than season one. I'll admit, I may have seen, as much as I do
I
love
need to
season,
rewatch season 1. It's been a while.
as much as I love this season, I will admit, rewatching it, there are a few things. I mean, I don't think it's bad by any stretch, but it's just like there are a few moments of like, did we need to go this route necessarily, or did we need to like? There are some things I'm almost scratching my
I
head
think
at, but they're
certain
not.
things on the rewatch work well, and other things I'm kind of with you on.
Where I feel season one is like strong from start to finish. That's why I can't necessarily put one over this, but nothing kills the season. Let me make that clear. Nothing kills this season. It's just if I were like gun to my head, had the pick. I mean, I'm probably leaning towards season one, but that's just me.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so season two, strong continuation though. Very, very, very happy with it. And of course, for any diehard McCracken fans, I think they're going to be really excited by how this season ends.
Oh man, I'm not sure how I feel about it. We'll see how it goes.
Knowing how things are going right now, though, Tiki, isn't that kind of what we need right now, though? I mean, come on, we need a little bit of that.
You're not wrong. You know what's funny? I wonder if Noda really knows about it and how
I tried.
about it.
I tried to float it his way, but he hasn't. He intends on getting the Kid Cosmic. He hasn't yet.
Okay. I think it's right up his alley. I know he loves Craig at the Creek, which is another like kid show that has like a really good plan behind it.
Believe me, I've been telling the folks who are big McCracken buffs who have not gotten to the show, guys, trust me, after season two especially.
It might be his magnum opus.
I'm inclined to say so, honestly, because again, the storytelling's really well figured out, and obviously has an ending in place, which is kind of something you're not always blessed with in animation, let alone in his kind of storied career. They didn't really have endings planned out, so that's kind of the advent of the streaming era for the man, which is again reflected well on him, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, Dragon, any background, or you want to just get right into the episodes?
Let's just get into the episodes, Tiki.
Okay. All right. Let's start with episode 1, The Other Stones of Power. So, yeah, this was a lot right off the bat, Dragon. I kind of feel like this episode is sort of meant to put you in Joe's shoes, both in terms of like the stress of working at the diner, which is pretty palatable, but also like in contrast, like there's a lot going on to keep track of here. It's like, oh my god, like we've got this Thanos type villain who's got a mommy complex, who is kind of following this kind of like Galactus style like planet eater person, and there's other gems. There's a lot of other gems apparently. Oh my god, on top of just kind of like keeping the status quo on Mose in space. So Dragon episode 1, I think there's a lot going on, but I think they balance it really well.
Yeah, so speaking of that, we got to highlight I think the breakout star of season 2. We got to talk about again, McCracken's villain signature has always been on point. He knows how to create a really fun, really cool villain. And,
this guy is very, very, very much like Lord Hader in Wander Over Yonder. He's very similar.
Phantos the Master is beyond awesome. I love how he did it. I did not see this coming because I thought he was going to be Herodias, but no, they made it 10 times better. He's not Herodias.
Did you think he was going to be like kind of like a one-off joke too?
No, because I saw him in the marketing. I used to assume he was. Okay. I assumed he was because of the helmet. I assumed he is the, he's literally the Galactus figure because of the helmet, which I assumed that's what Herodias was. I had no idea. Okay, Herodias is basically just
Herodias is kind of more like a celestial.
Yeah, celestial sentient planet. Basically, the best way to describe Herodias is it's kind of a
Herodias. All right.
The best way.
Trust me, folks. If we did that every time we said the name, this podcast would literally never end.
The best way to describe Herodias is it's a combination of Ego, the living planet, but more accurately, Mogo, the Green Lantern. That is a sentient planet.
So just a lot of sentient planets. Just in
general. I'm just saying in terms of like the stuff, because we don't give like a face or anything. Like Ego's got a face, where Mogo does not have a face. Ergo, Mogo. Mo go go go. Anyway, sorry. So,
Oh God. Oh,
no,
we'll
no, no.
get there.
Yes, but no, regardless, though, I do love just this
Can you
combination.
imagine Mojo Jojo as a sentient planet? Like his brain is just expanded into the cosmos.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's some Lovecraftian shit right there,
But
dude.
yeah, just the idea
Anyways,
of let's combine Thanos and Galactus, but make him a fanboy, ergo kind of the unofficial herald of Herodias, the planet killer, who is not just like it's not like a Galactus being that kills planets. No, no, no. It is like the planet killer that kills other planets, which is hilarious. Just
yeah,
make the man child who basically I love this. My favorite
the
detail that
animation of the mother is perfect.
I had no idea until like at a certain point once we said it in the show. I was like, oh my god, I just seemed like a little minion. I had no idea that's his mother.
Yes, yes.
I was like, this just keeps getting. How does this keep getting better?
That to me was like a great contrast to the Tom Kenny, Peepers sidekick that Lord Hater had on Wander Over Yonder, because Peepers was a lot of times kind of trying to steal the spotlight away from Hater. Whereas, like, what I love about the mother character is that she's just in the background, just being very sweet and very supportive, and
Doesn't
she
say a
loves her
word.
boy. You know,
Completely silent. Just great.
yeah, it's perfect, Dragon. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. Just like Fandos has a big role. That's why we're kind of spending like a minute on him here. It's just the fact
I
that
like how genuinely intimidating he is. I think this season, this might be why this season is a little bit higher for me than season one, is because I think the arcs in the season are really strong, particularly with Joe and Flo, which of course we'll get into, but also with him. I mean, I think he's got a genuine arc of like starting out as like a literal joke that even Kid doesn't take seriously at all, and then evolving into like, man, he does some damage. Like he does some genuine damage
I
by the end of
know
the season.
it's horrifying what he does by the end.
Yeah. So it's like I love that arc.
Yeah, my favorite detail with Phantos is that his plan, once he gets all 13 cosmic stones of power, is not like to rule the galaxy or anything, to like wipe out half the humanity. No, nothing like that. He's a collector. He just wants them all. He
And
just wants.
also, he just wants to move out of his mom's house too.
Yeah, which he somehow associates with
Dragon,
that.
I
He's like,
love that. That's a very realistic and very obtainable goal that I feel like the audience of this show like can really relate to.
so I think the moral of the story is mundanity applied to Thanos is gold. That's the
Yes,
equation. Like
yes.
put
I
that
mean,
on a
we already
chalkboard.
saw that in a way with the What If episode 2, but
Yeah, exactly. This just like plus even more so. And again, who does mundanity with the villains better than McCracken? Look at the whole Mojo
of
Jojo,
course.
making
Oh my
breakfast.
God, Mojo Jojo shopping list, dude, just comedy icon.
That's what I'm saying. So again, you can kind of see where mining from and how it's just kind of gotten even better when applied to okay, what's really popular these days? Well, obviously Thanos. So how do we it's great. Also, Bobby Moynihan. They give him credit. Bobby Moynihan does the voice of Phantos.
Yeah, I mean, he really dives into it. It's definitely a great a great showcase for
Even though
him
we
as a
got
voice
filter over him,
actor.
he's doing a lot. He's putting so much character in it. It's
Mhm.
great, and I love that he is. I love how Kid Cosmic is a perfect foil for him. Where again, it's like he thinks I
Yes, whereas like
kidnapped.
I love how for the first like few minutes of their interaction, it almost seems like they could become friends.
Exactly. It's very kind of SpongeBob Plankton esque for to a degree,
It almost
where it's
kind of
like
reminded me of like kind of like SpongeBob meets Dexter and Miguel Prado.
sure, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, well, but yeah, it's
I'm
just
sorry, Dre. I've got Dexter on the mind because of that trailer.
you know,
What?
you know.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Anyway. But yeah, so Kid Cosmic, just this is excellent. Just like is equally a childlike, nemesis for him. Where they're both fanboys and they're both just like, oh, no, I'm the bigger fan. Like, no, I've actually I had the scroll. Like, oh yeah, where is it now? It's destroyed. Huh, figures. It's just and of course like the whole like kidnapping ruse and then like I've kidnapped him. I want the stones of power and a cheeseburger. Just priceless. So shifting to the Joe side of things, so as we said, Joe struggling with leadership, as you said in the new setting as well. Which, by the way, intergalactic truck stop. awesome. We got this fun new status quo of kid is making deliveries in space. He's befriending. We're befriending space diners, which is going to pay off in our finale, big time, including Carlax, the guy who screwed up the delivery in the first place. That guy. Yeah. So let's see. Sorry, let's go going beyond that. Again, I love Carlax. He got to see his little girl's birthday and everything.
All right, you there?
Yes.
Okay, good news. I got the microphone plugged in on the computer, so that shouldn't happen again.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
Anywho,
the Cooch. I actually, I don't know, for some reason the last time, or I'm sorry, the Chooch. I need to remember that guy's username is like a Chooch train. I assume that's what they're going for, the Chooch. He says you can watch Apple TV Plus shows on Windows. You got to be in a browser. Dragon, that doesn't work for you, right? Because you're using a Fire Stick, right? Is that your issue?
Well, no, I've literally on the computer. I tried to go onto it and it wouldn't let me, so I don't.
That was my issue too. So unless they changed that recently, the Chooch, Dragon and I have had the same issue. Right, Wander over yonder season 3 for Disney Plus. Yeah, Claude, I'd be down for sure. I need to get caught up on season 2, but I'd definitely be down for that. Anyways, Dragon, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, let's see. I'm trying to think where I was here. Point being, we have I love how friendly we are to kind of our space patrons and the truck stop, and how we're dealing with that kind of new status quo shift as we're kind of floating in space. I love our big encounter with Phantos, where he just instantly used kids' telekinesis stones, stole all the stones. Like, oh man, Joe really needed a better plan here. This did not go well. Our guys are not, they're not exactly the crack squad they will be by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my favorite scene in this episode was honestly just establishing the tension between Joe and her mother in the diner.
Yeah, so Queen John very much kind of begins this triangle of for Joe, this Joe triangle, if you will.
So what did you think of Queen John, man? Because I think she was a fascinating character throughout the season.
Yeah, Queen John. I mean, on the whole, I really did. I was wavering, like, are we teeing her up to be the bad guy? Because it kind of seems like we are, and then we hit the better version where no, she's not the bad guy, but she obviously has a very different way of doing things, which is not copacetic to the way our guys do things.
So now you know how I feel about Admiral Holdo. I do think she's a better written version of Holdo.
Well, sure, I don't really.
But generally, Dragon, that's where I've been trying to come from with Holdo. It's like, she's got her, she's stubborn, but she's got her way of thinking. It might not be what we want, but she said in her ways, in her own way. Anyways,
I think it's a way to drag in a Holdo defense, but that's just me.
The Holdo defense.
Yeah, it just seems like
seriously, Dragon. When I was watching her, that was the thing that was kind of coming to my mind. It was like, this feels like a better written version of Holdo, where it's like you can't quite tell where her loyalties lie. She seems like she's going to be an antagonist,
right? So let's see. Anyway, so big thing we set up here, we introduce more of our Stones of Power, which I'm pretty sure we set up there were 13 at the end of last season. So we kind of knew that going into, we get to see what they are. So we have a few introduced in this episode. We have the Stretching Stone, the multi-arm stone, the Invisibility.
The multi-arm stone might be my favorite one introduced this season, just because I love how how many characters get to use it. I love Hamburg, man.
Yeah, honestly, I loved it. I love giving Flow stones like multi-arms, or better, the Speed Stone, which we haven't gotten to yet, but I love giving that to her.
I think Flo, it's Joe's season for sure, and she gets a great character arc, but Drake, can we just agree right off the bat, Flo is the MVP of this season?
Well, what I was going to get into once we got to other episodes, Tiki, is that Flo is very much, the heart of the season. She's very much kind of like the kid and Papa G kind of element of the of last season going here.
Flo. Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, last season, I didn't it's not that I disliked her character at all. She just didn't really like leap off the screen for me.
Tiki,
all that
that's
much.
because we kept her in the dark. Now we did not have to do that. That's the evolution we have now, which allows us more story opportunities.
Sure. So I mean,
that's
she's
really
gone
good.
from like kind of like, sort of like a a likable, if somewhat forgettable side character to genuinely one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. I love particularly she has a nice little arc with Kid this season. Remember, she like always like that kid always causing trouble in the first season, and now like she's really protective of Kid, and I love that.
So let's talk Kid, because I gotta say, Dragon, Kid's arc this season is the one for me that plays best on a rewatch, because it's kind of happening in the background.
Yeah. I mean, first off, one of the other stones we had mentioned, the Goo Stone, which he gets. So he has a real identity crisis here. We take away the telekinesis stone and we give him the Goo Stone. He hates being stuck with it.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, there's a lot of symbolism with Kid's arc with the goo that it's a little on the nose, pun intended. Got your nose, but
right.
I don't know. I think it really works with him. It really works with he has always kind of been like the morally gray kind of like he's kind of like the chaotic good dragon. That's how you describe Kid Cosmic. That's his allegiance, is chaotic good. It's like he wants to do good. He's very earnest about that, but he can't help but kind of make some messes along the way. And I think the goo is very symbolic of that.
Right. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the fact that it's a seemingly useless power, but does have its advantages, and I think Kid comes to realize that as the season goes on, to where obviously it ultimately saves the day in a huge way. Which again, that's kind of the point where Kid has always been kind of the the divining rod of the team. He's very much the true north morally, the moral compass of the team, the heart of the team. He very much kind of steers in the right direction, where Joe is the strategist. Joe has the plan and very much can kind of basically, she has a legit plan. Her Kid is like, we have to do this. Joe, how do we do that? And then of course, plan. Yeah. All right. So point, we put the stones into play, and now Phantos wants to get the stones, and we can't just linger in space thinking about how the heck are we going to deal with Herodias. We got to find those darn stones. That's episode 1. Yes, that brings us to episode 2, the Pyramid Puzzle of Pain. Bum bum bum. All right, so yes, the Pyramid Puzzle of Pain. This is a fun one. We've begun the stone hunt, as it were. This is kind of like our little Vormir trip, if you will, only with a much happier ending. It's limited. I like that with the Stone Hunt kind of arc of the season overall. Again, we only have 8 episodes. We kept it limited to basically 2 to debatably 3 episodes. Because it's this, the heist, and well, the Fire and Ice Stone. Well, I'm trying to think what the third one is. The point being, we have 2 major stone hunt. Oh, right. The battle arena, which is we kind of stumbled upon a stone. That's kind of the third one. Point being, 2 or 3 episodes is what we limit the whole show to, instead of what I thought. I assumed the whole season was going to be we're hunting for the 13 stones. Last episode, we're taking out Herodias. That's what I thought the season was going to be, just broadly. Not really, kind of like, speculating hardly on what could happen, all that sort of stuff. Anyway. It's better than the whole season just being that, and I thought it was refreshing. I like how we economized all that for the 8 episodes. I think it really helped with the flow of the story. Speaking of flow, okay, well, speaking of flow, we're bringing Flo along now on the adventure, which is great. Now that she's in the know, and nice little kind of character stuff coming to boil with Flo. She loves puzzles, which means she's good at puzzles, which makes her ideal for kind of our cross between 60s Batman and Indiana Jones. More Indiana Jones, but what can you do? All right. So let's see. Anyway, so we have we have a few kind of really cool kind of puzzles built into this giant. Like, how the heck do we get into this giant pyramid? We have the coin slot, which we have like all these little sand dollars, which I think is like a fun idea. Like, oh my God, look at all these little sand dollars put in the coin slot.
So this episode in general to me kind of felt like an Infinity Train episode. And I got to tell you, not in the greatest of ways. This is probably my least favorite episode of the season.
This one, really?
Yeah.
This is your least favorite?
I mean, I think this is the one where we get it just kind of feels like a standalone sort of it's building up Jo as kind of like it's building up her flaws as a leader and how she overcomes them. I think it's got some creative animation for sure. Like I do like the puzzles in it. But yeah, I don't know, Dragon. It feels more like Infinity Train than it does like Kid Cosmic. It doesn't really have the energy of a usual Kid Cosmic episode for me.
I mean, look, fair enough. I'll admit this one doesn't necessarily have all the bells and whistles on it, but I like that. This is a big Flow episode, man, and
It is. You're right.
And also, I think the moral was really good that Flo imparted on them that you can't just cheat through the puzzles. And again, because of that, they were in great peril with the laser, like kind of the 66 Batman style laser grid that was coming out and about to slice them.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Dragon. I thought it was a solid episode. I just, I just think as far as plot goes, it didn't really drive anything home. It was, it was more kind of character development.
Well, yeah.
And honestly, with the heist that we get the next episode, I feel like the themes that we hit in this episode are kind of just like doubled down on next episode. So maybe that's why on rewatch, I'm kind of just like, all right, I just want to kind of get to the heist so we can kind of get to the divide in the team and go from there. I don't know. It's still a fine episode, but I have to pick one to be my least favorite. So there you go.
Well, no, you don't have to pick any to be your least favorite, technically.
I know you're right. You're totally calling out my cynicism right now.
Yeah. Anyway, but a few character things we should track here. I just want to highlight within this episode before we move on. One, again, the whole Flo and Kid thing starts this episode where Kid, a really cool thing he has, the Goose Stone gives him invulnerabilities, and he stumbles into these booby traps. He gets like crushed and almost falls to his death and everything, but he's fine. He would have been fine because he's goo, and this is like Flo's like, oh god, we gotta save Kid. Give me a heart attack. Let's see on the flip side, Jo, she's smartening up here. She's figuring out the puzzles like her mother, but not giving her mother the credit. And this is where the emotional through line of the season starts here, where poor Flo keeps getting the shaft in favor of Queen Jean.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I feel like we see the seeds starting. I just think that next episode really explores them a lot more.
No, you're right, they do. I'm just saying this is where it starts, though. So we kind of
Sure.
kindle the fire here, and then it just kind of really, go. Anyway, it's also we see the kind of here's where I saw the crack in Queen Jean. This is where I'm starting to think. I think Queen Jean might be a bad guy here, where she says, "What if they, she gets into a Jo brief, like, what if they did, basically this idea of like she has no doubts that they're going to be able to do this no problem. It's like that's kind of some reckless thinking there, Queen Jean. I think unintentionally or no, you're going to end up being the bad guy this season, which did not fully go that route, which I'm pleasantly surprised by. So that brings us to episode 3.
All right, episode 3, we have the Heist of Ice and Fire, and I really like this one a lot. And like I said, Dragon, I think I might like episode 2 better if this one maybe didn't exist or maybe was reworked, because I just feel like this one hits a lot of the themes of that episode, but just a little stronger, where it's like, I don't know, I just think we kind of have the best of both worlds, because we see the strength of Jo's leadership, where a plan of hers is like perfectly executed, and then I love how something as simple as just like the sheer effing hubris of sticking around for a party with a bunch of criminals. I love how just one small mistake kind of like leads into basically a big rift in the team that's going to last the whole rest of the season up until the finale.
Yeah, Queen Jean definitely kind of got the ego of leadership in Jo's head, which was a really big mistake. It was a crippling kind of. It was the big hubris for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A few things that hit: Space Mafia, with Madame Fiosa, and the baggy, crime, kind of crime league. That's awesome.
To go with the Last Jedi but better comparisons, this thing kind of felt like a better Casino Planet with all the mob stuff going on.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. Anyway, let's see. So I love the infiltration idea, though. Is the fact, okay, so Queen Jean knows the birthday girl, and Jo's her guest, and the rest of Mo's Moe's Oasis. They're the catering staff, which makes a lot of sense. Like, and that gives us our oceans
And Dragon,
heist.
you and I, we both love a good heist. I think it's something we can agree on.
Yep.
And the heist is definitely. I like how we don't even really have to see it played out. It's just kind of like the plan sort of speaks for itself, and it's like, okay, we're done. That worked out super well, team.
But I love that it went off really without a hitch, and
Yeah.
and then the Jean's consistency is what boned him in the end, you know. And of course, Phantos crashes the party, undoes the victory, and then big moment of the shows, the big turning point moment. Jo has her first Erodius encounter. And Phantos is one of the great moments of the season. Phantos just relishes it. It's so funny. Just these taking selfies of like her. Oh, it was the first time you seen a rodeo. Yeah. Oh, wait, I'm going to text it to you. And it's like buzzes in her purse. It's hysterical. This is but on the severity of it, sobering glimpse at what Jo's up against. Scrawny teen girl with her intrepid friends going up against a literally a planet made of the remnants of other planets that have been destroyed. That's not too inviting.
Yeah, I almost kind of got a little bit of a, maybe like a more lighthearted Korra vibe here.
Little bit.
Like the weight of the world on her shoulders kind of thing.
Sure, there's definitely a little bit of like kind of a Korra going up against Amon after the scary wake-up call, for sure. Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there with Jo. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, let's see. Kid and Jo, they have a bit of a pick-me-up chat, which it doesn't fully pepper up, but it's like, again, Kid and Jo, they're very much obviously the lightning rod of the team. It always starts with Kid and Jo. That's how they get a team in the first place. So, yep. All right, let's see. So then Jo gets the fight hole light bulb.
And that leads to the next episode, which Dragon, we've seen this type of episode before, but man, it's a lot of fun.
It is, but I have one issue with this episode. Okay, so fight hole, great idea. I adore a fighting tournament or a martial arts tournament.
To me, again, with the Avatar comparisons, it very much reminded me of the Blind Bandit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no one crushes the boulder.
Oh God! I still want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson show up as the boulder.
He would be perfect as the boulder. Honestly, I wonder if they'd have the guts to, Rock, we're going to give you some hair this movie. I know it's been a while. We're going to give you some hair. Anyway, all right. So, well, here's the issue I have. I love the episode. My problem is she's got to take out the team who are trying to bring her back. It's that whole plan of like, we're going to bring Jo back, even though we don't want her mother to go to bring her back. Because it sounds like the same exact plan.
I agree. That it was a stupid plan. I
feel as
the episode as well.
We broached so many
guys. Just let her do her thing. It's like she's clearly more qualified than you, and you are clearly like not only getting in the way, but like probably actively putting her in more danger than she already is by interfering.
It's like the show has kind of subverted so many of the classic superhero tropes so well up to this point. And then we have a moment like this where, again, it's not like the Achilles heel or anything. It's just like kind of a stumble when the show has not really stumbled with those tropes up to this point. We've had like a fun spin on them where it's like, and we're gonna have the heroes fight each other, just because we need the. Because Jo, it sounds like we have the better payoff where Jo turns against the team later when she actually has like a legit reason to maybe consider doing so. Where this again, this feels like I really need it to be Jo and Crush's episode when it's Jo, the team, and Crush's episode. Sure. There was one member of our Merry Brew who was underserved this season, and we should talk about it.
Oh, okay. I think I know who you're talking about.
Chuck, poor Chuck.
Yeah, man, he really was. I really hope he gets more to do in season 3.
And I love putting him in. I love making him the dishwasher and everything. I love that. He had like a little. This episode, he got one bit in the whole season where he and Kid they watch Fight Hole together, and he helps him turn the TV. It's a cute, it's a little thing.
But that little moment, like, it brought me back to their dynamic in season 1, and I was kind of just like, oh, I want more of that.
Yep. Also, I do love the show that precedes Fight Hole, Tiki.
Oh, God, remind me, Dragon. I'm sorry.
Space Bakes.
Oh God, yes, Space
which
Base.
Flo also loves. And again, the winner of the whole thing is the contestant for Space Bakes, which I
Yes,
love that as
that's
a
great.
solution, by the way. So let's talk about Crush.
Yeah, Krosh was a great. I don't know how you feel. She again. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm making so many comparisons, but she reminds me of Taylor from Barry.
I mean, I was thinking more like Jasper or something, but I mean, I guess.
Jasper is a good call as far as like the design goes, but the reason I'm going Taylor is just because like she seems like an easy like one man army. You know what I mean? Much like how Barry was going to use Taylor. Like, okay, like hey, this guy could get shit done for me. I feel like Joe's kind of like looking at Krosh the same way. And I'm sorry, folks. I apologize for. I assume there's not a ton of Barry Kid Cosmic crossover on that Venn diagram. I apologize, but
There should be.
I know, Dragon. You and I are a rare breed. But
No. I mean, look, I get more in the aftermath of this episode. I do see the Barry connections, and the Taylor Peril, I think, works more definitely in the aftermath of this.
just
one,
in
sure,
terms of
honestly.
like we know it's probably a bad idea to be working with this person, and
Yeah,
like
ultimately
the
it
rest
is.
of the people are just like, Barry, what are you doing? This guy's kind of a nutcase.
Yep, and he's kind of saddled with them.
Yeah.
So April Winchell doing the voice of Krosh, definitely some Miss Finster in there, no question.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I should tell Monkey about that. I wonder if he knows about that. He loves Finster.
yep. But yeah, I loved Crush as a character this episode. I don't like the Crush payoff for the season, but I do really like Crush's introduction. It's the idea that Joe kind of made this friend in the arena, and then kind of Crush had like the stone in her eye and everything. That was that was cool. The pain absorption stone, I think, is an ingenious idea. I love all our new stone powers. But I'm just gonna get that. All the stone powers rock, and they also take me back to my nostalgia, the talismans from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh man,
The
yeah,
fact
yeah,
that there's
cool.
there was over 12 talismans. The fact that we have 13 stones kind of breaks out of the Infinity Stone, kind of bridges into that talisman / Infinity Stone kind of area, which I'm digging. I like it.
Mhm.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if we've missed anything substantial here. Oh yes, so Joe and Flo again. That dynamic continues where Flo is getting peeved at Queen John here, and very much. I love how we have our commentators who I'm taking. I didn't look into it thoroughly, but I'm convinced, if not directly, they're absolutely modeled after Wiz and Boomstick from Death Battles, who are also, if I recall, are the voices of the red and blue guys from Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm pretty sure that's why we have a red and a blue little floaty head that sound at least identical to Wiz and Boomstick. But they're kind of like calling out this family drama that's going on, and saying like, and basically Joe is this big addressment to the camera, "Mom, you're not gonna like this," and the way like almost like a Japanese commercial going on in space, or like a Japanese like toothpaste commercial. Says, "I'm sorry if to say it like that, but it's true. I'm sorry if it hurt you. That's how it is. I didn't hear any of that, but it
So,
does
I
hurt."
mean, just generally speaking with this episode, I feel like it's got kind of like that punk energy that I was missing from episode 2. It's like that's kind of like that's the difference. It's like when I think Kid Cosmic, I think of this kind of like, like punk energy. And I don't, like I said, episode 2 is not bad. I just think like the puzzle solving was kind of like weirdly sort of like against the grain of how the show usually does its storytelling. So
yeah, again, it was more as the show flow has things that teach her like Queen John. That's kind of there. Okay, so sorry, so real quick. I love the how Joe again. We see she's clearly outmatched with Crush, but she used the portals very strategically. She kind of looked for the weakness in her opponent, did her well, and also seemingly gained the respect of her opponent in the game and everything. Won the crowd over by saying, "Give it up for your champ!" Like she's the real champ. We found a good solution to that. But I love how the episode ends though. Flo and Papa G, they have their scene, man. This is a great scene. They're
now,
like
Papa G, man, he is. I don't think he's quite as prominent as he was in season 1, but I feel like he's used very well. Like he pops up for a lot of good visual gags. The multiple Papa G's thing is served very well with coming out with solutions to problems within the action, and then he he definitely has a lot of heart, like with let's see, Dragon, is this the no, I'm sorry. Yeah, remind me of what speech this is, because I think
Okay, so they have
from him a couple episodes later.
Yeah, they have two scenes, and this is the first one.
Yeah, I think
basically
I'm thinking of the second one. So remind me what the first one is.
Okay, the second one's with the drink. This is the one where they're just kind of talking. Where basically, I feel like I'm losing my little girl. Like, so Flo has that realization she's confiding into Papa G, and then Papa G has this wonderful bit of wisdom, as he is wont to do, where he says, "They do come back to you in time." Yeah,
okay,
nice.
that was what I was thinking of, and yeah, that's a great moment from him. My bad.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's second guessing myself.
But yeah, it's a great season. I love that. Yeah, we used Papa G sparingly, but we used him just right. I thought we have gags like he's gambling with himself in the heist, which I love so much. He literally has nothing to lose if he's betting against himself. It's hilarious.
All right. So next one. The Feeble Fighters. Honestly, this one, I thought it had some really great tension and a really great cliffhanger. I think, some of the training stuff is kind of like a little bit been there, done that, of like, oh my God, these people don't, it's like, look, Joe, you're just not using, you're not using your head, you're not using your heart. You're kind of like going at it from, it kind of goes back to the puzzle, right? It's like she's not looking at it the right way. But like I said, I do really like the cliffhanger in this episode. I do think it's genuinely like a pretty shocking way to go into the last three.
Yes, I particularly though with the training stuff, I love how we we kind of did like a bit of a Melon Lord thing from the Avatar finale with with Rosa, as we dressed her up like a Rodius, made her the planet killer.
Well, I think out of all of our returning characters, besides Joe, Rosa might be the biggest standout.
Yeah, I mean, something to mention too, before, so we don't forget about it, just with, as you mentioned with Hamburg, all of our characters, as you can see, I love literally everyone who got teleported, got a power, got something.
I really loved how they did that. I loved how it's like they didn't really all of them kind of had a specific power, but it wasn't like defining who they were by any means.
Yeah, like Carlos and Ramona, they got the fire and ice.
Oh my God, the fire and ice thing with them flirting in that one scene, that was freaking ridiculous. I'm still not sure exactly how I feel about that, but
it was adorable.
I honestly thought it was a little ballsy with how with how suggestive it was.
Well, he just kept heating up and cooling off coffee.
No, I know.
Yeah, I love me some Grey DeLisle, so anytime we give her something like that, I'm down for it.
Again, I love Hamburg just because Hamburg feels like a character ripped straight out of an old Terry tune or something.
Yep, I got burgers to flip.
Anyways,
of course, Carla gets the super speed, which obviously she has.
That's very fitting for her. Let's see. What do you think of Tuna this season?
I'll admit he did not have he didn't have the strength he did in season one, where obviously, he was the big one who gave the rousing speeches and everything, and he really kind of like helped us out in the finale.
I feel like this season, his whole arc was like, okay, just because he's a talking cat doesn't mean he's going to be spouting wisdom all the time. Like, sometimes he's just going to be kind of like waxy and poetic over nothing.
Well, let me put it to you this way. The funniest gag, speaking of, the funniest gag that he did this season was narrating Joe's, heroic hero's journey, which was a great thing. I wish we kept it as a main runner through the season, though, because that was really funny. And we did use his powers well. I wish we visualized it better, where it's like, hey, he's going down a hallway. It's like a metal detector, like danger, danger, danger. It's that sort of thing. So, I mean, it was useful. Just I don't know. I don't think he necessarily had like a running thing through the season. But I
agree. They didn't really. He had a little bit more to do than Chuck, but I agree he didn't really have his own story.
And to be fair, I mean, credit where credit's due. I mean, we have like at least 13 characters.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I'm just saying, like with Chuck in particular, I feel like he was almost kind of like part of the main lineup last season. So.
Yeah,
it's like I really do feel like that, as far as like him not getting nearly as much screen time, but
it's like 13 characters and a bad guy, and there's only so much you can do. You got to poor Chuck hit the cutting room floor practically. It's like one could say we cut his scenes in half. Dumb joke. All right. But so yeah, I do like the reveal of the Crush, the revenge fake out. Then Crush isn't seeking revenge; she's helping train the team because she's buddies with Joe now. Oh, which again then gets complicated unnecessarily, if you ask me. But the point being, things are looking good. I think the strength of episode 5 that we have, Tiki, and this is why it doesn't really necessarily bother me, the whole the pointless training thing. We're pretty much seeing this is not going well, but I love that we see our guys are really great at helping people, which again brings it back to the whole a fist versus an open hand, which again was what I loved in the first season so much. That they help the stragglers, the refugees from the destroyed Rhodius planet, who are really tiny, teeny tiny. We build them like a little home and everything using like Tinker toys, and it's really nice. And we see their strength is helping people versus really kind of whammo blammo action. And I think the real solution should have been, okay, well, we'll kind of divvy it up like that, and just kind of like when time comes, that's going to be our strength. But we shouldn't out them entirely. But Joe did not think of that. She was thinking, okay, solution because everyone's breathing down my neck to take on this Herodias guy. Big pressure, big planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like we said, big cliffhanger there with basically the whole team pretty much getting disbanded.
Yep, I mean, first also Phantos battle. We can teased up a Phantos battle, and that's how we got all the stones back. And it's like, okay, well, we got all the stones. Do we give Kid his stone back? No, that begins the heartbreak. What?
Yeah, man, that's one of the things I really love about Kid's arc this season is he's, like I said, he's a little bit more in the background, but you feel his pain with wanting to get that damn stone back, man.
And I love that we started his whole thing in the first season was that he thought it was the flight stone. He had a hard time mastering, but now he knows it's telekinesis. And we saw at the top of this season, he was a really good delivery boy in space. He actually kind of mastered that stone, and we took it away from him.
Right, yeah.
And he's stuck with the goose stone, which I mean, yeah, has its benefits, but he's just saying it's a goose stone. I had like a telekinesis thing. Who doesn't like telekinesis? All right, so that's it. Joe has made a decision, which then brings us to episode 6, where she enacts that decision.
Okay, the soul-crushing loss.
Okay, so yeah,
you're not a fan of Krosh just being a backstabber?
I don't like that, man. Because it comes out of nowhere.
Were you just too big of a fan of kind of the turn that she does?
Both. It's kind of both, and the turn was a really good turn. They had a really nice arc going, and then her turn I'm sorry, there's so many turns there. I just want to make sure we get straight. So her becoming Joe's buddy and helping out the cause, that made sense. That tracks. But they had a nice moment at the arena. Everyone was clapping for her and everything, and then out of nowhere, I was playing the long con revenge. Like, were you? Do you really benefit from this?
Yeah, I hear you. It does kind of come out of nowhere. Like, okay, we need to, because honestly, Dragon, the whole thing is, I honestly think it's just kind of like the solution is just kind of like too easy. You know what I mean? It's like, it is a really valid solution.
Yeah, I love how much sense it makes, though. I do. I get Joe's plan. I would really like that. I get Joe's plan. That makes again, she's not wrong at all about her team, but she could have gone about it nicer.
Sure. And so because of that, it's like I honestly wasn't really expecting it to go right. Just because if it goes right, we have no conflict for the last few episodes. So this is kind of where I get into my Taylor comparison.
This is actually where it fits, Diggy. Yeah.
Where it's like things do kind of go terribly wrong with this person that, Joe is initially hesitant about, but ultimately puts all her eggs in her basket, and it does not end well.
No, it doesn't.
Fortunately, there's no childhood best friend killed in the process, but...
I do love, though, the subversion I do like, though, is that Phantos just instantly kills Krosh. That was awesome, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I really liked Krosh, but again, that turned it was a real myriad of emotions, like, oh no, Krosh, how could you? And then, yeah, you're dead.
And then no, Krosh.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, oh man. Now I'm going through the 7 stages of grief. Speaking of which.
Yeah.
So we have the 7 stages of grief, which technically, if you really pay attention, it's 8 stages, which is really off. It's the fact they have no idea. So we have shock, denial, pain and guilt, anger and bargaining, depression, and loneliness.
Okay, so can I just say, like, I freaking love how supportive Papa G is through all of this.
Of course, Papa G's always been, he's been the alpha of this
I
show,
know he
man.
is, but man, it's like I want to like because he doesn't get a lot to do this season, so I just want to spotlight as much as I can, man. Papa G is an awesome father figure.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
All right. Anyways,
Yeah, I love. Okay, so speaking of SpongeBob earlier, we definitely do an homage to SpongeBob here with a kid getting drunk on root beer floats and ice cream. Now I do like this element of the episode. I do like editing between kids' struggle and the actual
yes,
struggle.
it was very tight editing for sure. I agree.
It was a well put together episode. I just don't like the turn with Crush. Basically, we need to get to a low point. It feels like Crush was our way of getting to a low point, which I feel did a disservice to that what we set up there. That's how I feel about it. Let's see. So again, this is where I had the full on like Jean thing. Where okay, this seems like Jean's the big villain question. Where again, she's just really cocky and misguided. Ultimately, is what we learned in this episode. That she just has little blind confidence in
It's
Joe.
almost
right
kind of just like a mix of blind confidence, yes, but I also kind of got like a, it's her like the reason she has these ideas instilled in her is because of her past and because she's suffered so much loss. So it's like, of course, she's gonna, go out of her way to, to do whatever's necessary. It's like I don't know, Dragon. For some reason, that reveal really got to me. I really thought it was well handled.
No, it was well handled. I don't have any issues with the Queen John thing. I'm just saying this is where we have that interesting kind of turn where you're thinking maybe villain. We're like, okay, no, there's she's just misguided, and again with the flow struggle here, we have the thing where like they're really linked by that power set, which kind of makes her the maternal figure to her in that sense. And like she's kind of the next generation of my planet in terms of me handing over that power stone to her.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and I love that Flo came to Kid's defense too once he was so crestfallen. I love that Flo didn't get angry at Kid. They were all supportive along with Papa G. That's what I really liked.
Yeah,
They were all like,
for sure.
Also, we gotta highlight this. This is the way in episode 1. It comes back here and comes back in the last episode. The Moe's recipe. Yes, so Grandma Moe's recipe: a cup of compassion, teaspoon of tenderness, ounce of understanding. Let's see, mixed with care and kindness.
Mhm.
Put it on a wall, and we did. It was great. Let's see. Okay, so we got the low point there. Phantos gets all the stones, which is not good. And I do love the gloating though to Kid, like I win, you lose, bye.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying about Phantos that makes him a really interesting villain is that, he pretty much never loses his comedic edge, but he does genuinely get more and more intimidating as things go on.
Yeah, I mean, he abandons Joe on like a random desert planet. That's he's getting there. And of course, the next 2 episodes when it gets really scary. Speaking of
All right, so that leads us into episode 7, The Fallen Hero. Dragon, this is a pretty quick one. It's like less than 20 minutes long if you don't include the credits. So to me, it's pretty much just like, we need the low of lows. We need Joe to kind of like go through, realize her mistakes and come out stronger on the other side. So I think it serves its purpose well. I don't necessarily think you needed a whole episode to devote to it, but I don't know. It's just weird pacing wise, like I said, just because it's significantly shorter than the other episodes. So it's just kind of like it almost feels like more of just like a beat in a movie than an episode in its own right. Does that make sense?
I mean, the interesting thing of this one is that we kind of splice because we have the low of lows, but we also work our way back from the low of lows. So it's not entirely a low of lows episode, which makes it a little complicated. Just to kind of. Yeah, so I think here also we have Shaquem Wynn in the comments.
Oh, all right.
Those are we're gonna like.
Why don't you just call him Thanos? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, he's a huge fanboy, hence the Phantos.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Speaking of which, so I love the dread of Herodias when he enters through that giant portal. I just love like the scale and the dread, and like our little intergalactic truck stop just being dwarfed by this giant sphere of doom.
Yeah, I feel like we get a death of the diner / truck stop, much in the same way we get a death of the Breaking Bad RV. It's just like, this very pivotal location that we've just come to know and love throughout these 2 seasons. I'm kind of jumping the gun a bit, but but I don't know. I love when stuff like that goes down, Dragon, and this season's no exception.
For sure. I love just to make all your Star Wars points from earlier kind of maybe coalesce a little bit here. We had the big payoff here, kind of a cross between Endgame and Rise of Skywalker, where we bring the whole armada of ships of the friendly diners that have been taken in by Mo's Oasis, and I just love that Jo is inspired by all the good that her mother Flo did throughout the season. She kind of recognizes oh man, I shouldn't have shortchanged my mom this season, but I kept thanking Queen John, not mom. And it was a really sweet payoff, and with Karlax. We know Karlax, that guy. So that all came back well, and Jean was humbled by Flo's kindness as well, which then they're both attacked by Phantoms, punched right through the diner. The diner begins to get destroyed, which is the big bump. I'm oh my god, no, we knocked out Flo, and the diner is now almost irreparable. What's happening?
All right, so that of course leads into episode 8. The world is saved. Honestly, Dragon, kind of a spoiler.
Well, it's last season, the last episode was called.
No, I get what they did. The last season was the day is saved. This is I get it, but I don't know. It's just kind of what if the world wasn't saved? What if they failed in that climax?
Well, would you want them to do an entire time travel endgame thing for a season? Would you
no,
really
I don't.
Want? That's why. Okay, they would have had to do it. We've hit a good balance. Let's not go further.
Fair enough.
All right, so Phantos destroys Mo's Oasis, and it's gut-wrenching. Even not the little sign. Not the little sign.
I mean, like I said, Dragon, it's very much in the vein of the Breaking Bad RV, where it's just oh man, it's you just see every detail of it just go.
Everything we loved about season 1 was attached to that place, and now it's gone. Oh, yeah. Of course, let's see. So Phantos, he's at his most intimidating when he rips off Jean's arm or little tentacle. That's when he's at his most intimidating, in my opinion. Where it's oh god, and I love that Jo. She thinks smart. She ejects him in the cargo bay. I don't have to fight this guy. He's gone, and it worked. And as he's been in the real defeat, he's been moved out by his mom.
Oh God.
Okay, then we have a sweet, almost kind of a Age of Ultron or Endgame moment. It's kind of called back to an Endgame. The whole what do we do? Our best, kind of a Cap and Tony moment between Kid Cosmic and Portal Girl.
So that scene where they're where we get the reveal that the whole planet is filled with the stones and they're just using them all over the place. That is definitely some Endgame stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I was so happy. Here's the thing here's why it's even better Endgame, kind of esque thing is that in the first season we teed up Kid Cosmic want to do all sorts of combo moves and almost fastball specials, and now with all these extra stones we can do all that stuff, and we did it. It was awesome.
Yeah, very satisfying. Very satisfying.
And of course, we got to mention, because we haven't mentioned him yet, giant invisible fire and ice breath, Carl.
Oh my God.
The most boring Carl of the Carl lineup between Carlos and Carl.
Fucking weird, niche joke. It almost kind of reminded me of, oh God, Dragon, I already forgot the name of the guy from Suicide Squad, but,
TDK?
No. The
give me something.
Milton.
All right, Milton. Yes.
It's kind of a Milton gag, right? Because it's just they make a big deal out of a character that's pretty much nothing.
That's the thing. He's out of the group, Tiki. He's the only just not it's sorry. The running gag has always been the three Carls: Carlos, Carla, and Carl. And Carl's been the least interesting out of the bunch. He's the general patron, he's not the biker, which is Carl. He's just the patron. It's just Carl the patron. So we just gave him okay, let's give him a huge Ant-Man kind of giant man combo. Let's do that with him. Yep. That was great.
So about midway through the episode, I honestly, if if the episode would have stopped here, where it's like, oh shit, we're back on Earth without Mo's Oasis, like that would have been a big cliffhanger.
I thought we were going to end there. I was really, I was
Yeah.
surprised that we kept it going. I was happy though because I didn't want to be left. Left
I
out.
don't know, Dragon. Honestly, that's where I think you and me kind of differ, because with like the rule to save thing, it's like I like. If they would have ended it there, then this definitely would have been the Empire Strikes Back of Kid Cosmic.
I mean, fair. I mean, it's a fair point, but again, he must have something cooked up for those 6 episodes, Tiki. I'm sure it's something very different than that. So I'm guessing that's, I don't know. I think it's gonna be really.
They could have done 7 episodes and just had the first one be kind of like, an extended version of what we saw in the last 10 minutes.
I mean, yeah, but then it would have been okay. So just one episode to basically wrap up the whole season that we didn't tack on at the end of that season to then.
All right, you know what? The more I'm describing it, the more it sounds like the opening of The Hobbit, the Battle of the 5 Armies, and never mind.
You see what I mean? It's just like, well, why did we not put the climax?
Yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah, but yeah, I do love that it's the goo payoff though. It's the fact that the thing that's been keeping Kid down the whole season ended up saving the day when he had. I'll admit, is really lucky he had all those rocks on him. But again, Phantos kind of put him in that position though. Phantos mocking him was what gave him the victory. So that was Phantos' own hubris defeated him. So that kind of works there. But yeah, the goo payoff just worked wonders. Again, Kid saved the day at his low point. Via his low point, and Herodias was his own undoing too, which is the stones that he was comprised of destroyed him or destroyed it. I don't want to get into planet pronouns, but you see what I mean. Let's see. So then we have the aftermath. So the aftermath is basically kind of our speculation kind of tease up for the 3rd season. So we're already getting all of our, like now that Herodias has been destroyed, it's rained stones of power that he was comprised of all across.
Okay, so first of all, I thought that was like a great end point too, Dragon. I thought that was a great tease. It's like, because basically we've gone from a show where it's like a kid finding a rock that gives him flying powers into like now everyone's got all these different kinds of abilities. Like that is some good slow build, slow burn real building.
I know, and I love that. It's great. So now we have now we're gonna have supervillains, like classic supervillains, versus like we had Chuck, and we had Phantos. That's really all we had. We had a couple stragglers, but let's just face it, those were like the big bad guys. They actually were like a rogues gallery, and then we have, now we can have like a colorful, assortment. Who knows? We can have an epidemic.
Okay.
We can have an
Which
epidemic.
leads the way to fucking PPG.
The Planet Protection Group. I'm so glad you liked it, Dave. No, let's be honest though. So the Planet Protection Group.
Dragon, I'm not. Again, I didn't dislike it. I was thrown by it, Dragon. I was thrown by it.
I was like, "Oh my God, he did it! Look what he got the ball back! It's amazing!" When I saw him, I didn't.
So is this going to be like unofficial grown-up Powerpuff Girls? Is that what we're doing here?
I mean, kind of.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm all for it. It's like I do wonder, like logistically, how the rights work out and everything. And I'm sure they're not just going to be named Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. But it's like we got the blonde, we got the redhead, we got the spunky one. It's I don't know. It's got the PPG. We have that sure looks like Townsville that they're going to it.
I know that's the thing. He found a great loophole to kind of continue with his characters, which again is like the big screw kind of screw that was given.
So
to
I
him
mean, honestly, Dragon, like fucking McCracken kind of pulled a Shyamalan in a good way. Like he kind of pulled like I am going to this is a backdoor Powerpuff Girls.
I just love what, because initially I didn't get for a moment okay, that man, she looks, these 3 look awfully familiar. Like when I saw Blossom's voice is like the actress who plays Blossom, Kathy Cardini or something, I believe it's her name. She's the one I'm not familiar with of the bunch. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so when I heard her voice, I didn't quite pick up on it. Then when I saw oh my God, he did it. There they are, and I love what we did from last season. So we very out of the gate said no, the biker in black was a rogue agent. We're the real deal. Okay, we're the real deal. We're making you a legit offer that he did in the first season. We're actually interested in helping people, not you being like a superpower against people, against aliens. So it worked. It worked great. The local heroes are going global. I can't think of a better way to go into the next season. They're going to. I think the next season is going to be about rebuilding, because now the diner's gone. They're going to have to put down roots somewhere else, and I think that's where we're going with it. We're
Sure, and
rebuilding
I
it.
mean, have to deal with all these, like the whole public population getting
Mm-hmm.
powers, which Dragon, that excites me because it very much reminds me of Legend of Korra Book 3, so we'll see where that goes.
And it's also the fact that these are not city people. That's the thing.
Uh-huh.
It gets me interested. That we're putting them in a town. We're putting them like we've taken them to we're taking them to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man kind of setting that Kid Cosmic kind of dreamed of in the first season. We're making that a reality.
Yeah,
For
definitely.
the third season. So that's what I'm saying. I think season 3, the 6 episodes has me a little worried because I don't know how much you can get in the 6 episodes, but I'm sure it'll be
But
good.
then again, I mean, maybe the city is just the end point, and it's kind of like the climax of the whole show, so you don't necessarily want to drag out a climax.
I know, that's the thing. It could work really well for him, just based on how these 2 seasons went. I'm going to assume it's gonna turn out well. Yeah, just we've gone from ragtag to Avengers essentially. It just seems really good. Seems like kind of a 3-act structure I can get behind. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so Dragon, I'm going to go ahead and forego the final thoughts because I think we've summed up our thoughts pretty nicely.
Yeah, we like the season.
Okay. So big thanks to Shaquem Wynn, the Chooch, and then also Claude Karinka for coming on. And yeah, we'll see y'all later. Have a good one.
Doing a sandwich.